A few days ago, Discord came out with an update, and that update was Quit Discord. Because Discord went from a movie and music pirating oasis, a paradise if you will, into a dictator's wet dream. Isn't it funny how the moment Discord became a public company, all of a sudden, my government ID became their priority. Hit the like button and subscribe, baby. We're this close to 90,000. Now I wonder if you change your location to St. James's Island, I'm sure Discord wouldn't care about any age verification now, will they? Now the reason I say that is because I was like, hold on a second, is there something new going on over at Discord? And I was like, oh wow, would you look at that? There is a new CEO of Discord, and everything instantly became crystal clear. What a surprise. The CEO of Discord has a very weird background connections, a very checkered past, if you will, with people who don't have a very clear image right now. So let me get this straight. Discord gets a new CEO and he happens to be from Israel. And then the company starts requiring biometric data. You know, maybe, I don't know, maybe Discord was promised to him 3,000 years ago. I don't know. Let me know in the comments right now. Type in the comments if you think there's anything weird about that. Or am I going crazy? Anyway, listen, a moment of silence for anybody who thinks Discord actually cares for anything other than their pockets. And of course, their very weird and deviant intelligence. Remember when Discord tried to add NFTs and they backed off the second people cancelled Nitro? That's what needs to start happening here. Cancel your Nitro and start spamming media files to waste their stupid server resources. It's the only way to bully them into reversing this very dumb and insane change. Now, what does this have to do with Steam? Well, if Valve decides tomorrow to launch a Discord alternative, it will be over overnight. So we must summon Lord Gaben, Gabe Newell, our champion and savior. We all know currently you're fighting many battles on many fronts, but we need you now more than ever. I mean, think about it. If Steam was to implement its own version of Discord embedded into its launcher, how many of us would switch to that overnight? I mean, all it would take is a Valve employee making it a pet project when he goes home after work, and it could release within a few months. You know, when I think about it, I think Steam, with their group system, and they can turn it into something like Discord servers, it would actually turn Steam groups into something that people would actually use. Because the second I get asked for an ID to use a gaming chat app is the moment I stop using it, is the moment I jump ship. Because let me tell you, giving Discord your ID information is like giving a crackhead your house keys. You'd have to be completely out of your mind. They will never have my ID. Now, the alternative platforms to Discord now have free advertising, because they can say, you see what Discord is doing over there? Yeah, we're not gonna do that. You can come over here. So TeamSpeak, are you listening? You know, quite frankly, I don't think anyone is going over to TeamSpeak, because when you look at how unsuccessful something like Blue Sky has been, you know, the quote alternative to Twitter, because for most people, they don't care enough to uproot their entire profile and go somewhere else. I hope I'm wrong though. I hope something like this wakes everybody up, because the internet really went from, you know, never give your personal information out, to now we have to show our government issued ID to use this service. I don't think so. Look, this is what they're basically saying. We are trying to maintain privacy, so we are going to have to store your ID on our unsecure, unencrypted servers for anybody to breach later on. But hold on a second, someone please think of the children. See, the thing is, never trust anyone screaming think of the children. That is the absolute last thing they actually care about, because for the children has been one of the most damaging mantras ever, because that is the kind of slogan companies like that try to do so we can be in North Korea. Total control is going to be under the disguise of public safety, and it's going to justify places like Microsoft, like Xbox or Discord, justifying all of these online social services being linked back to you so you can be isolated and targeted. Because once they found out you say something wrong, oh, they're gonna be right at your doorstep. So once that happens, you won't be able to voice your opinions on social media anymore, leading to the side that dictates mainstream media owning every single narrative and discourse there is. Oh no, we don't want to go back to that now, do we? Now remember how Discord said that we will not store your ID? Well, guess what? A few months later, they got hacked and 70,000 IDs got exposed. So if they said that we won't store it like last time, why should we believe them this this time. In their words, they called it a successful launch. Are you kidding me? Maybe next time they want 100,000 IDs exposed. Now, when they say that we'll delete your ID immediately after, what they mean is they'd make a copy for themselves and delete the one you sent. How much you want to bet that's what they're doing? How many companies said that we'll just delete your IDs? But as soon as they're done verifying, you end up finding out weeks or months later your exact photo getting leaked because they got hacked. I mean, months after the fact. That is just disgusting. There was a hacker group, I think their name was Scattered something. They stole over 2 million government ID photos, along with 1.5 terabytes of data, including 8.4 million support tickets. You'd have to be crazy to listen to what these companies say. Now, I'm not sure who was complaining. I'm assuming it's mostly the neglectful parents that allow their children to be unsupervised and use their phones on the internet as a cheap form of babysitting. Because that is what this really comes down to. Imagine if these parents stopped giving their children smartphones and unfettered access to the internet. Because if these idiots, let's just say we applied that logic to anywhere else in life. If some moron parent let their kids loose everywhere on the roads instead of taking them off the roads, would that mean that you would have to put everybody on a 5-mile-an-hour speed limit on the roads? And then you would have to start inspecting every single passenger and driver, collecting their IDs in the name of protecting children on the road? No, you wouldn't, because that would be absolutely moronic and stupid. Because parents should be in charge of what their children do online, not the government. Because otherwise, everybody has to upload sensitive information online, which will get hacked. It's not a question of maybe you'll get hacked. No, it's getting hacked. It's a stupid idea. And remember, why do video game consoles and places like Discord require parental controls, but people's phones don't? That's very weird. And remember, it's not just Discord who's doing this. Microsoft and Xbox are doing this. They're all capitulating to the UK Online Safety Act. Anyway, Discord's ID requirement announcement has gone over terribly good. Unsurprisingly, Discord's teen by default setting and ID verification announcement isn't going over well with its user base. Now, this is really dumb because the teen by default thing doesn't make any sense, because then all the actual nonces, N-O-N-C-E, Google what that word means, will just be in the same space as those people. So it's having the reverse effect. They're not even hiding the fact that they're making the job easier for those nonces. Anyway, on Monday, the messaging platform announced that it will require all adult users in March to verify their age through submitting a video selfie to remove age-gated restrictions. Discord will view users who don't verify their ages as teenagers. Isn't that great? Meaning their suite of features will be restricted. For example, unverified users won't be allowed into naughty channels or servers, and they won't be able to unblur those things. The response by users was swift and universal. They're ready to leave Discord behind. Yeah, asking me for a copy of my government ID is a deal breaker. One Reddit user wrote, "There's no universe in which I will prioritize upload ID over delete account," another said. Yeah, the minute I open Discord and it says I need to do an age verification is the minute I never use it again and delete it forever. There is zero, no one, absolutely no one who should give their faces to these people. Remain anonymous and don't let them privatize the internet. And on that bombshell, let me know what you think in the comments. Manix out.